Say more about that in a minute, but I promise I'll try to be mercifully brief. But, you know, to the sailors here from the Naval Force Europe to Naval Force Africa, the 6th Fleet, the Regional Europe, Africa, Southwest Asia, Naval Hospital Naples, Naval Facilities Command Naples, Joint Command, Defense Department, civilian personnel, to all of you, we came to say thank you. That's the simple reason why we're here. Thank you for all you've done and do for our country, for the NATO alliance, and quite frankly, it's not hyperbole to suggest, for the world. Jill and I are literally in awe of your service. As many of you probably know, the Americans serving in the region you are heirs to a very proud tradition, dating back to our nation's first overseas battles against, of all things, the Barbary pirates along North African coast, and continuing through 2 wars and some near confrontations with then the Soviet Union during the Cold War. But with the end of the Cold War, like so many other aspects of our security landscape, your mission has changed, and it has changed dramatically. While your predecessors focused almost exclusively on the military threat posed by one powerful country, today's challenges are many and in ways more complicated and more diverse. Countering terrorism, piracy, preventing nuclear proliferation and trafficking, protecting against ballistic missile and cyber attacks, and trying to adjust to a revolution that has started in Tunisia and working its way to Bahrain. One man, a fruit vendor, literally set himself on fire and lit a match that spread throughout the entire region. It's going to be a decade of great change we will not be able to totally control, but as always, America will be expected to react to. These 20th century challenges require a world-class military to meet them, and thankfully, we have just that. It is not hyperbole to suggest you are the finest group of warriors the world has ever seen, and that is not one little bit of an exaggeration, and you should clap for yourselves for that. Whether I'm visiting in a FOB about 6,000 feet above the Konar Valley with 6 soldiers there by themselves being shelled every single night, or I'm in Iraq with a Delta team following me, or whether I'm back in Afghanistan with a SEAL group with me, it is amazing, no matter where I am, with the 101st, the Screaming Eagles, or with the 10th Mountain Division. You are made up of the best stuff the world has ever seen. And I might add, you'll hear talk about other nations who are moving and building their militaries. But ladies and gentlemen, the United States Navy controls every sea, every ocean in the world. And as long as we do that, America is going to be secure. It's the single greatest ability to project power that ever has existed. You're also the backbone to NATO, the world's greatest military alliance and a force for security and stability for the last 60 years. And God willing, will continue to play a critical role for decades to come. This is no ordinary time. In addition to your regular duties that you've been deeply involved in NATO operations in Libya, Operation Odyssey Dawn, and Operation Unified Protector, you've enforced the Security Council Resolution 1973, helping establish an arms embargo and a no-fly zone to protect the people of Libya. And in the last week alone, U.S., NATO, and partner forces have flown over 1,000 sorties, some 16 nations, providing nearly 200 aircraft. This is burden sharing in action, and it benefits us all, but it's all carried on your shoulders. Your mission has prevented what surely would have been a grave humanitarian disaster in Libya, and has given the Libyan people a chance for the first time in over 5 decades to possibly put together a government that can reflect some democratic principles and more freedom. It stopped Libya's Muammar Gaddafi from, in fact, wreaking havoc on his population. It stopped the unrest from spilling across the borders in Tunisia and into Egypt, which are undergoing their own dramatic transitions toward democracy as we speak. And it sent an important and unmistakable message throughout the world that we are there. We are there to protect the innocent. And Muammar Gaddafi has lost any legitimacy, if he ever had any, and must go. Ladies and gentlemen, you've lived up to the Sixth Fleet's motto, power for peace. Whether I'm, as I said, meeting 6 members of the 101st Airborne in a FOB, or a Delta force assigned to me in Iraq, or those special forces who I met with several weeks ago who took out Saddam, not only Saddam Hussein before, because the same group was part, but also took out Osama bin Laden. You are remarkable. You are absolutely remarkable. That mission will go down as one of the most incredible missions in the history of the conduct of war. Ladies and gentlemen, you all know that the thoughts and prayers of all Americans are with all of you as you fulfill your missions. This is particularly true this past week as we mark Memorial Day and reflected on a profound appreciation for the troops who paid the ultimate price for our country.